Uh,
We weren't going to
nah.
repeat that because we thought that could be an advantage for us. So we didn't sit out there
That's what
and
I
we
got.
were zeroed in on Mac Jones.
Nah,
We
bro.
helped him to
Nah, man. Them
finally go
niggas
out
start.
there and do
Yo,
Jones and
bro. The
Trent
rumor from
because
like
we
jump was
wanted
like
Trey
them niggas be
Lance.
doing
So
steroids.
I believe that
But I ain't
Kyle
never.
came to the same conclusion that I
But I'll
did.
never see
He's
that nigga.
watching
Nah, you'll
film.
never see that
To
nigga with no back
realize,
acne or nothing like that. But who
holy
knows?
cow,
And they're the nice.
if you
And
watch,
Cody is one of the
Lynch said
nicest people
on
I've
his
ever
interview
come
on
across.
ESPN, John Lynch said that Kyle called him at 9 o'clock one night and said,
Nah, I was on freshman football with
I'm
Cody.
obsessed with this guy.
Cody, his older
You
brother.
got to watch what
He
I'm
was on my
watching.
football
And
team.
Kyle said
Nah, freshman
that he
year.
had graded his whole 2019 and he had
Yeah.
thrown 160 plus plays. And he said he's a hard grader. And he
Yeah,
said
it
I
was
just kept
hot.
giving him plus, 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 plus points
Yeah,
on the
fucking.
outcomes of the plays.
It's
And
funny.
I
My
realized
kicker
that
ended up being a
in
schemer. I mean, a
82 in
scammer.
all the digital age that we have now, he
Yeah.
made a new tape and sent it to
They said
John
he did the
Lynch.
white people
And John
scam, and
Lynch
that
said
shit
he
get
spent
when the white people scam gets
24
shut down, they get
to
shut down for
study
real,
that
for real.
tape
Everybody lose their
and
money,
came in
all that
unbelieved
shit.
the next day saying, my God, this is it.
You remember
We got
Vima?
to go this direction. Okay,
He used to do
so
that shit.
what I see is that they took the future and they have Jimmy
Maybe
Garoppolo, and
if I'd
obviously
seen her.
now it appears they're just going to hang on to
Mhm.
him for 1 year because
Yeah.
look, Trey Lance is 20 years of age. He has thrown the fewest
Yeah, nigga.
passes, 318 passes, of any quarterback taken in the first
Yeah,
round in the last
yeah,
30
yeah.
years. The closest was Michael Vick at 343. Okay, so he's going to take some time. But he is
They
the
couldn't.
greatest combination of tangibles and intangibles of all five of the quarterbacks. And that's where they arrived at their conclusion because they go
Mhm.
through 2 pro days and they start sitting down with the North Dakota State coaches, and they realize that this kid did everything for them. They gave him full responsibility
Bro,
to
nah,
set the
they
production,
almost
set
had,
the
they really almost
offense,
had me, but they could never
set
tell me
the
like how they got the
scheme
money.
under center about half the time, which we don't see college quarterbacks under center.
But in Kyle's offense, you up under center. You don't get you shotgun. You up under center a lot.
Yeah, bro, that's a whole fucking scam. Nah, bro, like
Master, what do they do? What is the essence of their offense?
Yeah.
It's
that
misdirection
shit funny as fuck.
defense.
Like y'all niggas really out here trying to scam
Catch you
people.
off guard with their run game, and they just run you out of the stadium. Is that not right?
You want them to help you get some paper, but you can't help them get no paper because you not gonna buy they shit when they start. Like you, mm-mm.
He's a 4.5, so it's playing faster.
Foul as hell.
Very easy sort of pickup speed. He can hit top speed very quickly. He's got a bigger arm than Mac Jones. He's a much bigger man than Mac Jones.
Yes.
He's much stronger in the pocket than Mac Jones. And in the end, Belichick sat at 15, and I'll give him props for that because he didn't spend anything to go up for Justin Fields, as there are many runaway reports about. But he took, to me, the poor man's Tom Brady. And I underline the line poor man's because right now, Bill Belichick is a poor man when it comes to his roster. Last week, Pro Football Focus ranked their roster 20th. Well, it's in large part because he's been such a terrible drafter of talent that it has gone down, down, down until the cupboard got bare and they spent in free agency and tried to beef up what was left of their roster. And he did some nice things with the roster. He overspent for everybody, but they were desperate. And now they're desperate.
So nobody gonna hope these niggas or something like.
And I feel sorry for Mac Jones, and I do think he's a tough kid because he
The
chose to
fuck?
go to Alabama when they did have Tua, and they did have Jalen Hurts, and obviously he just stepped right in and said, "I can do this." So I don't think he'll be overwhelmed by the pressure, but all of a sudden the spotlight is going to go off cam onto Mac Jones because a Patriot Nation is going to say, "We finally got our Brady." Correct. And remember, Brady's got
So
everybody back
nobody
next
wants
year
to
in Tampa, so
fucking
the pressure's only going to
hoop.
ratchet up on Mac Jones and Bill Belichick to live up to Tom Brady in New England, right?
Yep.
Okay, so in the end, this is what I love the most. We had Trey on yesterday. But he's a
Sir, what time you leaving?
his father was a quarterback who played in the
Well,
Canadian
you better hurry and find out.
Canadian Football League and the World League at London Monarchs. And he taught him well, and he instilled in him an extremely strong work ethic. But this kid has the highest football IQ of any of these five quarterbacks. Again, huge talent, big mind, lots of mental responsibility, chip on shoulder because the University of Minnesota, where he dreamed of playing, rejected him as a quarterback and said, "No, you can play safety or linebacker." Okay, so now he goes to North Dakota State with the biggest chip on his shoulder of any of the 5 quarterbacks, and his number one priority is breaking down tape of NFL games and ball security. What kid have you ever seen come out of college with ball security in his head as this is my number one priority? It's the essence of winning championships.
For real, like niggas don't want to play.
You just cannot turn the football over. So what does he do in his first
Oh,
year
up, there we
starting
go.
for North Dakota State, which is the perennial, power in that FCS? He goes 28 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, and they go 16-0 and win the national championship. You can't underestimate that, even though it's lower class competition. I get all that.
But even that lower class competition, Skip, the thing that you look for when you see a guy at that level and he's playing lower competition, does he dominate? Not is he just getting by? Does he dominate? He dominated, as you mentioned, the 28 touchdowns, the 1,100 yards rushing, the undefeated season, the national. Because that's a lot of Skip. When you go there, they're the Alabama of the FCS.
They are.
That's what they are. They're the Alabama of the FCS. And so he was filling in for a guy that just went number 2 overall in Carlton.
You don't think there was some pressure in 2019? Yes. I agree.
Yes.
So, in the end, I believe Mac Jones will be only as good as the talent around him. And he had, obviously, great talent around him because they had the second most first-round picks last night of anybody in the history of the draft.
Yeah, they tied with the Canes in 2004.
Right? Okay. And they could have more, actually.
Barmore slipped into the
I was surprised. I actually thought Tampa might take him with 32.
I did too. That's what I was thinking.
That kid Tryon, who opted out at Washington last year, he can rush the passer. So the point is,
And she got a Louis bag.
I've read this to you before once.
Okay.
Lance Zierlein, I have the highest
Okay,
respect
facts.
for him
My
because he
bitch
breaks
love.
down these draft profiles for NFL.com.
Blue bag,
He
baby.
wrote about Mac Jones. While the production looks great, he is
Let me see some.
from the wealth of
Okay.
riches up front, in the backfield, and at wide receiver. Well, I think we all agree with that.
Right.
He has a tendency to play with some panic.
Oh, shit.
And he could struggle when things aren't optimal around him. Jones has good backup to low-end starter potential. Well, that's how I saw it.
And he gonna make that bullshit. I should have let him eat the two.
Last year, because he was surrounded by sensational. So again, when Trey Lance grows up, he will be able to lead and lift the team to the highest level. I believe that Mac Jones will never be more than a product of what you put around him. And he will get the most out of what you put around him. But when you go up a level to pro football, he's going to have a harder time.
Well, that's what you do with young quarterbacks. Skip, what do? What did they do with Dak? They went and got him a Martin.
Damn it.
CD Lamb. They gave him Michael Gallup. What you do with young quarterbacks is that you surround them with talent. You see what they try to do wrong. You see what they try to do. That's what they're doing. What they're doing now, Skip, is that it's just not. Only Tom Brady, for the longest time, could do more with less. And even Tom, as he started to age, what did he say? Even I can't do anything with this. Let me get my butt down to Tampa. Get with Mike Evans. Get with Chris Godwin.
Yeah, go right. I say right.
The truth is, that's all you need to know about what happened to Belichick. And again, his reputation as a drafter is pretty pathetic.
He's not good at this.
Okay?
Let's
His
be honest.
owner, a couple of weeks ago, called him out and said, the only reason we spent like we spent in free agency is because we have drafted poorly. He said that. So there was some hot seat going on under Belichick last night. Then he made some smug comment after the draft about, I missed those mock drafts. Like I didn't pay any attention to them. Well, maybe you should have paid some attention to the mock drafts, right? So was I surprised that Mac Jones fell to 15? Not at all, because if it hadn't been reported that the Shanahans were interested in him at 3, I don't think anybody would have supposed that anybody would be interested until Belichick or maybe the Bears.
But we had a strong suspicion, Skip, that if he didn't go to Kyle at 3, he was going to probably be there for Coach Belichick at 15. Because no one else seemed to be within the market for a quarterback. Now the Bears, I think the Bears surprised some people moving up from from 20 to 11 to get Justin Fields. So, but I don't think anybody thought all those guys between basically 4 to 15, 4 to 14, somebody in that range was going to get a quarterback. So Coach Belichick's like, And once he didn't go at 3, Coach Belichick says, I'm not moving. He's gonna be right there when we pick.
Okay, so a story was reported yesterday that shocked me that Kyle Shanahan and Belichick are do not invite him, that they're no longer close. There's some animosity. I don't know, that they fell apart. I don't know why. But that meant that the Garoppolo back to New England was probably not that probable.
Right.
And so here we went with Belichick. Well, if it's not Garoppolo, I think he just got stuck. Like, well, I got to do this.
Yes.
And who's his best friend in coaching? It's Nick Saban.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you don't think Nick Saban whispered sweet nothings about Mac Jones?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yes. And Skip, and who's taking more? Like I said, he's taking more Alabama players in the common draft. I mean, than anybody. That connection. I mean, he has, 10 on his roster since 2010. Look at Hightower and he took Cyrus Jones. And he loves Alabama players, Skip, because I think Coach Saban is a chip off of his block. He knows they're disciplined. He knows they're going to be well coached. Yeah. He knows they're smart football players because they put a lot on your plate. They expect a lot of their players. And guess what? You can handle tough coaching. Because what is Coach Belichick? He's a very tough coach. What is Coach Saban? A very tough coach. So it meshes. It goes together. But Mac Jones, like I said, Skip, I love Mac Jones. I love the way the ball comes out of his hands. I love how he processes information. I love his accuracy. But what the really great ones can do in today's game is that
it's only that bad if he misses.
I don't know what happened. I'm not gonna make a play. He's of the guys that's probably in this draft. He's least likely to be able to go make a play, especially with his legs. All the other guys have an outstanding legs. Justin Fields, Trey Lance might have some of the better legs. But when in Kyle's offense, Kyle believes that I can do the entire playbook, all 200 pages, and this kid will be able to absorb it and be able to go out there and implement it.
That is correct. So John Lynch readily admitted last night that he made a call yesterday afternoon to Green Bay just when all hell broke loose in Green Bay that Aaron wants out. He said, I made a call just to see if there was anything going on. And according to Gutekunst, the Packers GM, they're just telling everybody who calls, we are not trading Aaron Rodgers. But to San Francisco's credit, they checked on that. To their credit, they said they considered signing Tom Brady a year ago.
Right.
I think they should have done it because he would have gone home, obviously, to where he grew up in the Bay Area as a 49er fan. I think they missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, we were talking about Aaron Rodgers in a minute. That's a funny
Yeah, that's how I start.
How all in they seem to be on Aaron Rodgers. Once he told them he doesn't want to be there anymore.
Okay.
But Skip, with this situation, it's going to be interesting to see. I agree with you. I believe they're going to hold on to Jimmy G for at least a year. He's going to be the bridge. Now, that's not the same because what we've seen from Jimmy G, he's missed 25 games in the last 3 years. So the likelihood of him playing a complete season isn't very good.
No.
But he might be him. But Kyle is looking at it like, when this kid is ready to play, it might be a situation like Tua and Fitzmagic. When they felt Tua was ready to play,
Maybe.
no matter what the situation was, they inserted it.
It could be exactly like that.
Yeah.
Which was, what, halfway through?
It's the same thing that happened with Jay Plummer and Jay Cutler. If I'm not mistaken, Skip, I think they might have been 6-3 or 7-3 when they inserted Jay Cutler because Mike was like, look, we done maxed that. We already know we got Jake. Jake is not only going to take us so far. Let's see what this kid can do. Let's go ahead and start getting him some experience.
To pick him 11.
Yes. Yeah. They traded up to pick him number 3. Okay. So they're going to fast track him.
Okay. I love what your man Kyle Shanahan did. And again, I think
Hold on.
and I think you agree with me, Trey Lance will be better than Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Well, Skip, if Mac Jones had gone to 49ers,
What?
I just trust that system. I just trust
Hello?
Kyle Shanahan in the way he can develop quarterbacks, in the way he can put them. Because, Skip, nobody calls the game like he can. Because they can run it, the throws are going to be wide open because you're going to have to drop the guy because his scheme, as far as running the football, is so great.
It's the best.
All right, we got to break this down. Aaron Rodgers has reportedly been